Hey everybody, my name is Paul,
And I'm Vanda.
and this is business as usual for 2022. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year. We made it to 2020. We're still here.
Surprisingly, the virus didn't take us out or anything, so things are moving right along. So, did you have a good holiday, Vonda? Everything went well for you?
I had a fantastic, you know, New York is doing very strange things, so I was able to be away for the holidays and enjoy warm weather and family and all of that good stuff. So, yeah, they were really going through it up north. Kind of happy that I'm not there. But I've started business. I've made many I don't like to use the word determinations, but I've set some goals for myself. And I think we set goals on a regular basis, right? I mean, if you're in business especially, you should be goal oriented or else how do you measure where you were and where you're going and how far you've come. uh, I call them yeah, they're kind of on the borderline of like affirmations and goals and just really trying to have the courage to reach further than the limitations that I place on myself.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, we do that all the time to ourselves, don't we?
We do. It's not an easy thing,
No.
it takes a little courage, and especially if you write them down and
Mhm.
post them in front of you where you can see them every day.
Smart, I didn't think about that. It's all just up here, but problem with it keeping it up here is it all fizzles away when your worries come in, and then you forget about your goals, and you're like, you know what, just keep my eye on the prize. I don't have to you know let that distract me. I'll actually tell you something. So I'm doing for this year, so I did about 40 interviews with connection specialists, which are basically my name for my salespeople, and they're all 1099, they're contracted. This year is my growth year. It's my fifth year in business. It started technically in August, but I go by fiscal year, so January. Fifth year in business. This is going to be my growth year, so I'm really pushing getting people selling uh, our 360 marketing program. Um, and we are aiming to get at least, I would say, $100,000 coming in gross revenue for the year. Um, so I've never had that. I've never had more than one comma in my bank account. It's been quite a while since I've seen a comma in my bank.
Congratulations! This is big.
Yeah, so that's the goal this year is to have two commas in the bank account, um, and have these, get some people paid, get them some work, and this is this is folks, this is true entrepreneurship right here. Is where you're pioneering something that you have never been through before in business, and you're trying something new that no one has done before. Um, that is pretty much the definition of entrepreneurship. So I, Vonda, I don't think I can't remember how many people. I saw some statistic about like 100 million people throughout the world started a business last year. That's insane.
Well, 100 million people.
Yeah, on average. I
That
mean,
means that if it's 100 million, then that means that like 700 million failed.
something like, yeah, that's probably right. I mean, with almost 8 billion
Yay!
people on the
That's so
planet.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good segue into something that I've learned kicking off 2022. If I can speak to failure for just a moment.
Yeah.
So I've been studying for um, a particular license, financial license,
Mm.
so that I can expand, my client list and help folks in different areas that I've not been able to have access to.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very challenging. See, he's the younger one and I'm the older one, right? So that study thing wasn't happening the way I would have liked it to have gone.
Sure.
Wasn't that a nice way of putting it without
Yeah.
and giving myself grace? And so it was very challenging. And I even, I started studying in September or October.
Mm-hmm.
And, life happens, you get distracted, it's holiday, you're still trying to do business and grow your own business. And, and in this world or any place where you need to take an exam for certification or licensing, it's heavy. And so on the platform, I realized I had logged 57 hours of study in for what is technically a 20-hour program for licensing.
Wow, you got all those college kids beat.
And I failed.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I'm so happy to be able to be here and be vulnerable. I failed. And I'm not sure. It doesn't really matter why I failed. I don't even get into there. I'm not even going to make excuses. I was about to say, oh, I knew the information, but I had such a challenging time. Yeah, whatever. The point is that I failed. And it took me back. And I realized that I haven't failed anything in a long time.
Mm.
And so once I could, lick my wounds, which was for about 2 hours, I was there for about 2 hours licking my wounds, just mad as shit. I was mad. Mad at myself, mad at the testing platform, just mad, And however, not too mad to not determined to take it again. And that day I booked another exam for 2 or 3 days in the future. And I passed that exam. And it meant nothing. Like, so, okay, great, I passed. I got the certification, the license that I needed to add to my line of authority. Great. But let's talk about that failure.
Mm.
It was so important for me.
Mm-hmm.
It literally has changed my trajectory. And I realized that through that I've been, we may understand fundamentally or intellectually that we are blocking our success or that we have limitations or that we place limitations on ourselves because we're humans. And we've read about it, we've heard people talk about it, we've watched, interviews about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But to be able to apply it to your own personal circumstances, like how am I limiting myself, and I've been doing a lot of self work
Mm-hmm.
in the last many dozen years, and I didn't have this piece. I didn't know where it was. I had no idea which hallway to walk down, which door to open, which key on the key ring. I'm not even sure that I knew that this piece existed. And so in my process of licking wounds and, my ego was bruised and I was hard on myself, I had to retract.
Mm-hmm.
And because I'm conscious and I am aligned, I was able to pull myself up immediately, almost within a couple of hours, and be like, okay, well, let's really lean into this. What is this about? You mentor people and assist people all the time. My language is that failure is not a wonderful, not a bad thing. It's part of growth. And here I was having trouble with my own words. And so it was really wonderful. It was so healing for me. And I felt like, wow, I just kind of like dug up a huge boulder rock that has been implanted in the dirt for decades now,
Mm-hmm.
that I have been walking by every day, didn't even know it was there. You know what I mean? It's like walking by a particular tree every single day. And then one day the tree's not there. And you're like, but it took you 6 weeks to notice the tree wasn't there. That's kind of what I felt like. And it was so rewarding. So yes, failure in business, I realized that that was how I was limiting myself, putting myself in situations and circumstances that would ensure success, which is limiting. I wasn't aware of it though. I was only going for what was. So anyway, it really piggybacked off of or piggybacked onto my determination to really expand my client list to folks in a different, bracket
Mm-hmm.
and all of those things. But I think I even need to take a step further now because, when I was setting goals for myself, it seemed like I was reaching. But now that I've moved through this obstacle, I'm like, oh, that was safe reaching.
Mm-hmm.
Now I need to really, really reach. Like,
Right.
like I've learned that outside of my comfort area is not so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So yes, I welcome everyone to fail, please. I'm gonna even prescribe that it's a few times a year in business.
Mm-hmm.
Good for the soul, good for the spirit, good for your own personal adjustment and alignment. And it's definitely helps you to get in touch with your authentic self. How about I say that? If
Absolutely.
you have the courage to get real with yourself and really look at yourself, failure is the way, baby.
Yeah, and failure is the way human beings have learned for ever. If you when you're a child and you fall, because you're trying to walk, your your brain logs it. It says, "Uh-oh, we can't do it that way," and then we have to try and get up and try again, and eventually it learns and it balances out. You see that a lot with like artificial intelligence and robots. That's literally how they're teaching this technology is the same way we learn. Um, Not that that's applicable to this, but failure is literally a tool to get better at something. And when you avoid failure, you're just sitting there at your desk, scared because you can't, you're afraid to move forward. You're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to learn to swim unless you get in the water. So,
Yeah.
of course, I don't recommend swimming in the winter if you're in a colder climate like me and you. But so, but yeah, and you got to fail up, fail often, and like
There you
Vonda's.
go. Fail often.
Yeah.
I don't think I allow myself to fail at the really big things. Which would be things like losing in a a high investment or stuff that really can impact you. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I invite folks to really test the waters, trust your life, see what it looks like. So what? You just lost $10,000. How does that feel?
Not good.
I have a question though. May I ask a question?
Yes.
Specifically for you. And I thought, well, if we were going to get on and talk about business as usual, then maybe I held this just for now. So one of my goals is to be more engaged. And so maybe I'm speaking for busy folks that
Mm-hmm.
are in business, or maybe I'm speaking for the older folks that are in business. But social media is so important to business these days, even if it's not the way that you attract business,
Mm-hmm.
there is still an element of legitimacy and confidence and that it gives other folks. And so I'm speaking with people in service.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to think of social media and how that applies if you're selling makeup or if you're selling, candles or shoes or things like that. But when you're selling yourself,
Right.
or you're selling a concept or a philosophy or a way of living, it may not be the means to your business, but it's still very important, wouldn't you say, to have that presence.
Yeah, it's if you were at I always tell people marketing is like well, there's so many metaphors, but I would say if marketing, especially in an internet age, if you are if you
Yeah,
have your
keyword internet age, guys.
yeah,
So get over yourselves. We've got to do it. It's like it's just we're in the future.
right, but you use the same networking and promotion skills that you would have used if the internet never existed. I always have to chuckle because I see back in the what late '80s, early '90s on those talk shows where they're like, "I think the internet's just a fad and it's gonna go away." Mm-mm. It has become the central database of commerce. Database wasn't even a word back in the '90s.
Yeah, they're saying that about crypto. Hint, hint, y'all.
That's a whole other episode. We have to talk about that though, because I don't understand half that stuff. Um, but
Let's talk.
yeah, so the social media, if you're on Facebook and you just have a Facebook page and you're selling candles, um, let's say you're 50 years old and you're selling candles and you've been doing it for 20 years. That's great, but you need to be able to promote yourself in a way that's exciting to the people you're selling it to. Just as if you were at like a conference selling candles, or if your storefront was selling the candles, you need to present yourself in the same way, in an authentic manner, boldly. Do not back off. Say,
Yeah.
this candle's it smells delicious. It's a pumpkin spice from the fall, and it's on sale for 30% off. Just don't be afraid to tell people what you're selling. Do it offline and online, and create graphics, or talk to me if you want me to do it. But
That was good, Paul. I
yeah,
like that analogy you just made to if you had a store, your shelves would look a certain way, your window would look a certain way, you would have a color scheme, you would try to make your environment inviting for your customer.
hmm,
And that's how you carry your business on social media.
yep,
Because, when we walk by a store, we're having an experience looking at that window. Oh, that's so beautiful. Or, wow, that's so warm. Or, oh, that just makes me feel like the holiday, whatever that is. It's in
hmm,
a flash moment and you keep walking. That those colors, those images, those props have given you a feeling. So yeah, that was a good one. I like that.
yeah,
Creating the feeling of your display. So here is my goal. One of my goals is that, and I don't know how I'm gonna fit it so far, but I every day I redetermine
hmm,
is to make it my business to connect with everyone that I meet and exchange social media.
good,
I realize that I speak with so many people, even on the phone, even sending emails, even sending texts,
hmm,
making sure that my IG handle is attached and my website is attached. And I have now, I've got the automatic whatever responder or the closing. I've included in all of my emails, right? With my Facebook and my IG and my website, just as part of my closing, and that's huge. And I just realized, think about how many people we come across. Some of you, maybe there are many of you that have already nailed this, but how many people are you coming across and you're not sharing that information with? How many people are you communicating with through a text or through an email and you're not communicating that? For me, it's a good, I lost count.
hmm,
So that's one of my goals, as well as to be better with my social media. Guys, we've got all these pictures in our phones, and I'm specifically speaking to those in business. And for those of you that are doing really well at this, my hat off to you. You've nailed it. I am proud of you. Please circle back to help those of us that use a little help. We're always open to suggestions, so feel free to type in the chat if you have any suggestions. Let me know. Uh, Paul probably already knows, but let me know. But on that note, I've determined to really exchange with folks, no matter where I'm at. I'm in the motor vehicle. I'm in the, oh, hey, how are you? Are you on social media? And in that moment, have phone in hand. What's your handle? Okay, great. I'd love to connect with you. So look for me. I'm, Jameson Legacy Group, and I'll follow you and just have that moment. I go on vacation, I'm on the beach, I don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Every person I talked to in Puerto Rico a couple of months ago, like I should know their social media. I was better,
Mm-hmm.
but definitely not good enough. So, one of the questions though is that I've been looking at uh, apps and platforms to do videography in,
Mm-hmm.
because I've been reading statistically that folks are more engaged in video, which I had already assessed, in the last couple of years, just based on my own social media. And I'm just looking, I've got all these videos. I'm like, I'll stop and I'll capture in the moment. We've got footage, we've got photos. Putting it together for your social media. What do you recommend? Give me your top 3 apps. And I need something a little bit more advanced than Reels.
Yeah.
And when it comes to TikTok, that's fun, but I don't like all the other extra stuff and icons and that go along with each page layout. It blocks your text, and that just didn't work for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun. I've got something going on for the dog, but for me and in business, it wasn't quite working. And as I have become better, I realized that I really need to be able to edit seamlessly and be able to split, footage and input music and input graphics and switch things around. So what do you recommend?
Contacting me. No. But if you're a do it
Here
yourself,
I am.
yeah, if you're a do it yourself person and this is
I'm both.
yeah,
I
yeah.
need to use you, but I have so much stuff that I just need to get out, and I enjoy it. I
Right.
know for some people it's agony, but there are those of us. And you know what got me here is that I interviewed a woman for a podcast that I do, and she is a chef.
Hmm.
And before the interview, I was preparing myself, and I went to her social media. Oh, can I just tell you, Zaza's Kitchen, her social media, it wasn't abundant, but what she had was remarkable.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really beautiful. And I thought, I want to do that. So, for those of us that are creative and that do enjoy handling some of our social media, what would you recommend that we use? And I don't have an iPhone. She said I used an iPhone, and I'm like, and it has all the tools. And I'm like, okay, so now we're speaking to those of us that don't have an iPhone or that are using our laptops. Okay,
Right.
I'll be quiet now.
No, it's okay. So there is an awesome service. It's called Canva. So I'm sure you guys can see that I'm on Zoom. I'm actually going to
Mm,
share my screen here. Um,
I have Canva.
oh,
I
good.
use them mostly for like two-dimensional, like flyers and things like that. I've used them for PowerPoint, but I didn't know that they had an advanced video processing.
Yeah. So let me share the screen here. Google Chrome. There we go. Can you see that? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Good. Video panel. HUD floating me controls. Okay. So, um, in Canva here, if you actually go up to create a design, now I pay for Canva Pro, so if you don't want to pay 10, 12 bucks a month, that's fine.
I
Um,
don't pay.
yeah, one of the first things here is video. So if you click on
What's going
video,
on?
they actually have this pre-formatted area down here um, that allows you to, uh, and I have to kind of, well, the video is going to cut off a little bit, but I think you can see it if you're watching the video. Um, you can see down here they have like a timeline thing where you can stretch, uh, you know.
Okay, sit, please.
So is that Trigger?
Yes.
Ah, you better be a good
Trigger
boy.
and Daisy.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see. On the left here, you have a tab called Videos, and if you pay for Pro, there are, and you can always split these by free and Pro video clips, but folks, they have millions of clips. So if I wanted to make a video about, I don't know, I have a candle store. Um, look at this. So you can drag it and make it full screen. The default size is 920 by 1080, which is like a HD video, but you could make it 4K. And there's a clip of a candle. You can drag and drop. You can move the clip to any part, and then you also have audio. So if you want to, oh, I hope that didn't bother the thing here. If let's see, English breakfast. I don't know.
Okay, wait.
Could you hear
Let's
that?
do pretty people.
Pretty people. Could you hear that?
Yes.
Okay, so you could actually drag that onto the timeline here, and it'll load it here. And then you could, let's see, where?
And I understand that, yes, it is probably best. Folks, don't, my advice, do what you want, of course, I can't tell anyone what to do, but my advice would be that when you do find a program, or if you indulge in, I've been using, and I was going to kind of see if you mentioned it. You didn't. I've been using Adobe Premiere.
Yes.
I have Canva. I don't have the Pro, but and I went through a host of platforms in the last several days. What I've noticed is they all have a Pro feature, so that you can upgrade and do more. But I recommend that you kind of play with the free versions of the platform, and just to see if it's a good fit for you. And you won't know until you start playing, because there's a difference. Isn't there a difference, Paul? Like if we're taking stock images and we're creating a video, or we're creating a video of ourselves, that's where I run in, is that I'm talking about a financial tip, and I've messed up a word, but I keep going, so now I need to edit myself and make the transition seamless. And sometimes I need to cut in between words and put some words together, and it's me and the words, and make sure my mouth is moving the same, so it's based on need. And then go and get the Pro. But thank you for that, because I have Canva, but I don't have the Canva Pro. So what I'm hearing is that maybe I need to go back and look at some of my platforms that I have, and really determine which ones I want to upgrade, which are the free ones, which ones maybe I no longer need.
Right.
Like there was something called Boosted. I haven't used that in. Okay, thank you. That was very helpful. I got some direction.
Yeah, Canva is great for super simple, quick video cut and paste. And anything you record on like a Zoom or your phone, you can drag and drop into Canva. You can even put it in folders and organize everything. You should see the amount of folders I have. It's insane. But I'm a media guy, so that's what I do. A lot of graphic.
Now, wait. Wait, I'm sorry. I have a point for the people.
Yes.
So you just said you've got all of this media. I took a cybersecurity course a couple of days ago. Where do you keep all this media? Are you keeping it on your computer? Are you keeping it separate? What do you recommend?
So I always recommend having a backup of your most important files. Everything I do for my clients is on this computer. I have two external hard drives attached, kind of hidden out of view. And one is a 2 terabyte hard drive that stores all my video files, like the big files, because you need terabytes of data when you're dealing with video.
I need to write this down. Okay.
Yeah. If you go into a Best Buy or some other store that sells hard drives, or order on Amazon, but just be careful because you don't want to cheap out on your get the brand name because they're reliable and they have warranties. If you get something cheap from China, it's probably not gonna be easy to replace. The thing
How
is,
many terabytes should I be looking at getting in this hard drive? Somebody like me starting, I've got a bunch of videos. I need to start putting them somewhere else. What am I looking at?
for an individual like you, just 1 terabyte, um, and that'll probably run you like 150 bucks. Uh, I recommend an SSD, which means solid state drive. It's basically it's like a graphite. They don't have little fans in it. It's flash data. It's very fast and it's solid state, so it's just there.
Okay.
The fans and stuff, they're the drives that make noise, and so that's your. I should have like a little fun segment like Paul's Tech Tips or something.
No, we should. I'm
Yeah.
there. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
And not everyone enjoys doing graphics and making flyers, and not. I'm an artist. I went to art school, and so yeah, I'm the creative financial guru. Uh, and if you don't enjoy it, do not labor. It really should be a labor of love.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like cooking. Cooking is therapy for some folks. Just being on the computer doing graphics can be therapy for me. If you do not enjoy it, then you should not be doing it and you should hand it over to someone. That's what professionals are for.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make our life easy. Let's
Right.
not make our lives complicated. Do what you do best. And when you don't, you give it over to someone else who does. It is so worth the expense,
Mm-hmm.
worth your time, worth the effort in the long run.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to outsource it to someone on Fiverr if you don't want to like a long relationship with a big company or someone who does all this like even me. If you just need like 1 or 2 gig projects, save some money, go on Fiverr, find freelancers who are trying to make a living. The small business owners, we need to support each other. That's incredibly important.
I've heard of Fiverr. I haven't used it, but it is definitely circulating in my realm of business associate recommendation. And they've had good things to say. So otherwise, if you're not using Fiverr, you can call Paul.
It's kind
Paul.
of kind of what I do. This is
Yeah,
a whole
Paul
other
did my
thing.
website. Paul's did graphics for me. He's amazing. It's seamless. I'm almost ready to go back to the drawing board a little bit and do a little bit of upgrading, but we'll talk about that in a couple of months.
Sure.
Well, folks, thank you so much for joining us today here. Business as usual. I'm Vanda.
And I'm Paul. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.